welcome everyone to Reimagining the Magic, episode 2. I'm Katie.
I'm Julie.
And this episode is about princesses of color and their place in the Disney parks. But before we get started, first we'd like to talk about some Disney news.
And we got big news.
Lots of big news. First up, speaking of multicultural Disney, the planned Jack and the Beanstalk movie called Gigantic, which was supposed to take place in Spain, has been officially canceled by Disney.
I wonder if that has anything to do with what's going on there. You heard about Catalina and their push for independence. So, and there was a lot of gosh, how do I even put this without sounding just like terrible? There was shooting. There were police. They were busting into polling places and like hauling people out, shooting rubber bullets. It was bad. So
a lot of high turmoil in that country, which leads people wondering like how long will Spain continue to be just Spain, and Catalonia becomes their own country. And
oh gosh, I said Catalina, didn't I? Oh god.
It's okay. A lot of people, I've been seeing it online, spelling it wrong, saying it wrong. I only know it's Catalonia because I went on a YouTube binge probably a month ago with people trying to figure out what future countries will exist, and people mentioned Catalonia.
Second place geography participant, 5th grade here, guys. Apparently Catalonia. All right, well, I won't make that mistake again.
It's all right. And any of you out there in Spain/Catalonia, please don't be offended. We're in America. It's a very insular country.
All right, and then up on the upcoming in the Disney parks, specifically, I think 4 of the hotels are going to be allowing you to bring your dogs to the parks now, and so that's not just service animals, but all animals or all dogs will be.
Yeah, you can have at 4 resorts. You can look up which hotels on the Disney website, but I do know Art of Animation is one of them for how much it is, because they do charge you per day, and you can only have 2 dogs with you. And this has been met with some very mixed reception. The common thing I've been getting is like, well, you could have been bringing your dog the whole time and stay on the Disney campgrounds, where dogs have always been allowed.
Yeah, and I personally don't particularly see a reason to bring just regular pets, because I'm like, you're just going to leave them in the room all day, and they're not really going to see you much, so what's the point of having them there? But that's just me. Some people really like to travel with their dogs.
They have Best Friends, which is their animal care facility on property, but from what I've heard, it's very crowded, and unless you go at a really non-busy time, the chance of just getting space in, if you didn't book it in advance, you have to essentially leave your pet in your room. And if you want to go to the parks and you have to go check on your pet because someone made a noise complaint or whatever, I can see where people are having issues.
Yeah, the logistics just don't seem like they're quite there, just because it is an attraction. You're not going to sit in your hotel room all day with your dog. So, and obviously you can't allow the dogs in the parks. So
the people who are liking the idea are the people who kind of come locally anyway, where if the dog is a problem, they can just drive home and drop it with a friend. But the people who are really into Disney, who travel from far away, where it's like the point is like, if you're flying from, say, Wisconsin with your dogs to Florida only for something to happen, you're stuck in Orlando.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, and like I said, no, I think it's cool if they allow dogs. I just I definitely wouldn't do it personally, because I think that having to go back and forth between the hotel and the parks all day to let the dog in and out would defeat the purpose of going to Disney.
And from my understanding, if you have your dog in your room, housekeeping won't visit your room.
Yeah, and that's totally understandable. Like, you don't want to. It's kind of like mailmen don't want to enter a property if there's an unknown dog.
So that's very interesting. And you have some news coming from Disney Imagineering, I heard.
I do. So Grant Imahara of Mythbusters fame has been working with the Imagineers as a contractor for 6 months on a currently unknown project. He said that he is not allowed to reveal what it is at this time, but knowing that he is an expert in robotics just opens up all kinds of possibilities. It's very exciting.
Considering his background, either Tomorrowland maybe, or a new Epcot attraction.
Which would be so cool. Science and Epcot. See episode 1.
Bring back the science. And so that's it for this week in Disney news. And we would like to thank all of our new subscribers on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter. We've been having such a nice response. It's only been a week with 1 episode, now 2 episodes in. We just want to say thank you.
Yeah, the response has been amazing, and just stick with us. We'll only get better.
Yes, eventually we'll have better video, and we'll try to do maybe some live stuff. So definitely please stick around, follow us on social media. We'll announce things. We might even do, because we're trying to keep this to once a week to keep up with our schedules, but once in a while in between we may drop in, a surprise live stream or something, depending on schedule. So please continue to follow us, share us with your friends who love Disney, and especially if you like hearing about Disney and just not just the news, but speculative things and figuring things out. Because I think Disney makes everyone feel a little creative at times.
And to follow that up, I think it's time we talk about our sponsors.
Yep, and like our first episode, our second episode is also sponsored by Breach. That is BREACH.TV, your new home for all things entertainment, movies, music, and more. So just go to breach.tv and sign up free today. It's a completely free service. Everything is super high quality. We've also uploaded our content on there as well for people who just don't like an audio feed or can't handle YouTube for whatever reason. It helps us put our content out to more people.
All right, and now we move on to the meat of the episode, which is that's Princesses of Color and where their attractions in the parks.
And this is a kind of a complex thing because, frankly, it wasn't until the Disney Renaissance we even really had non-white human characters in Disney.
Yeah, and there's some characters where it's kind of understandable that they aren't there, but there are some that where are their attractions? They are so popular now that it doesn't make any sense that they are hardly represented at all.
When Aladdin came out, there was an Aladdin parade, and it did really, really well. But, of course, it was temporary. It went away. A lot of times when movies come out, at least this is during the Renaissance, the 90s. When there was a movie, there'd be a parade. So Aladdin had a parade. I remember Mulan had a parade in studios. Mm-hmm. But again, these are temporary things. They go up and they go down in a year.
Right. And Aladdin does have one ride. They have the flying magic carpet ride in, I just blanked on the...
I believe it's Adventureland in Magic Kingdom.
I would say, I don't remember. I'm picturing it in my mind. I walked past it 3 times while we were there.
And technically you can say Aladdin has a presence in Morocco and Epcot as well.
True. That is very true.
But
you don't... Yeah, Jasmine's only real, representation is a face character and products.
And even then, her products are minimal. I have a daughter. She's getting to be that ripe age for Disney princesses. And seeing all of the selection for princesses, Jasmine gets the short end of the stick.
That makes me sad because growing up, I loved Jasmine. When I was in... Was it second grade? Second grade for Halloween, I dressed up as Jasmine, and I felt like I was the coolest person ever. I was like, I'm Jasmine!
The argument I got from people was well, her outfit's too sexy, but if you look at the costume they made for little kids, I think it's up until it hits about a size that you would wear when you're 10 or 11, it's a full body suit. It doesn't show midriff.
Yeah, the midriff is just part of the costume. It's just a tan part of the costume.
Yeah,
that's how mine was when I was little.
I think that it only comes in a 2-piece version if you're buying for a middle schooler. And if you want to talk about the ethics of that, well, that's a whole different conversation. Just go into any, store meant for middle schoolers and you'll see why those products exist. It's right. It's a cultural thing now.
Yeah. So Jasmine does get some representation. I think she's probably gosh, maybe one of the most prominent in the parks. And that's I think that's the sad part, is that there are so many others who are
And
arguably more popular that aren't represented.
I can say also with Jasmine, I think her presence, as well as the presence of the Aladdin franchise, save for the genie, has been cut down after 9/11.
That is very true, and it's very sad because Jasmine is such a great role model for kids. She doesn't she's not all about, oh my gosh, the prince. She makes him prove to her that he's worthy of her attention. And I've always thought that was a great lesson, is that you don't have to just, oh, there's a boy who loves me. It's, you have to make them prove their worth and be like, okay, are you a good match for me? And she was the first princess to reject marriage.
I love Aladdin too, because it very loosely, but it still does. It does bring up religion. It's one of the few Disney movies that does, because when they mention anything, they'll refer to, if we say, oh my gosh, or whatever, they, especially the Sultan will mention Allah.
Yeah. I recently rewatched that. I did not catch that as a kid.
And I'm like, okay, I get that it's definitely some place in the Middle East, and they're trying to capture that, and I definitely respect it. And I think I also do, aside from the genie, because I think the genie, especially being voiced by Robin Williams, was able to be more detached from the story and the culture itself and be his own thing. Aside from the genie, they really have been downplaying Aladdin, and Jasmine, of course, being part of that movie.
Yeah.
Since September 11th, because you remember during the 90s, there was the Aladdin TV show.
Yeah, oh, I loved the Aladdin TV show. And I remember there's one where Jasmine got stuck underwater as a mermaid. I loved it.
And 2 direct-to-video movies, Return of Jafar and Aladdin the King of Thieves.
I dressed up as Jasmine from Aladdin and the King of Thieves as well. I love her wedding dress. I think it's beautiful.
So
that was 2nd grade.
And I remember, Jasmine was marketed as her own princess. They had these princess VHS tapes that they put out. And, let's play princess or whatever. They had a little song. They had a whole bunch with the Ariel from the Little Mermaid show. But then they had a bunch of Jasmine from episodes of the Aladdin TV series that focused on Jasmine. I remember there was the episode with Jasmine and Mirage.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And the one where Jasmine is turned into completely transformed into a peasant, and Aladdin has to find her. I remember that.
Yeah. But my favorite episode was the one where Genie fell in love with that one, and they I guess they were cursed or something. I don't really remember, but they had to turn old together. I guess they're having their life force sucked out of them, and they were turning old together, and it made me so sad.
And this just took me back down memory lanes. Remember, there was a lot of products for the Aladdin franchise in the 90s, and I do think it was 9/11 that really made that whole thing, that whole franchise, and Jasmine by proxy get shafted.
Yeah, but there is hope for that franchise, since they are starting that live action movie. I think it's going to be fantastic.
And I hope it's done right. I really do hope it's done right.
I'm so scared about Genie, though. Man, rip Robin Williams. I can't imagine anyone else playing the Genie.
I really can't either. That's tough. I just hope they do a good job. And after Jasmine, Pocahontas, I think, was after Jasmine.
Right. And I think the issue with Pocahontas, why Pocahontas is not well represented in the parks, is because the movie didn't take the right tone and came off as racist. It is pretty bad.
I remember going to the parks around the time Pocahontas came out, a little bit after, and they had a meet and greet with her, and they had this story time in the forest with her. They initially incorporated her as part of Animal Kingdom, and that, I think, had some problematic elements to it, thinking about it. As a kid, I didn't care. I'm like, it's Pocahontas, but as an adult, you're like, wait, Pocahontas in Animal Kingdom.
Spirit animals.
Couldn't Pocahontas have been in Epcot in the American Adventure Pavilion?
Yeah, that would make a whole lot more sense. Why? I mean, the other princess, Mulan's there.
It'd be, I could even argue her being in Frontierland of Magic Kingdom. That's still a little problematic because, colonialism.
Yeah, I think incorporating her into the American experience part of Epcot would be fantastic, because she is, she does represent a part of American history, though not well.
Not well at all.
And I think
Listen with your heart, you will understand. And it's like, okay, so she just magically learns to speak English when you clearly showed you did your research and she was speaking Powhatan. She had those lines in Powhatan. Why couldn't she just have spoken Powhatan? And had, like, Grandmother Willow translate for her or something? That would have been a lot cooler, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really thought that movie was really cool as a kid, but I mean, looking back, even my mom didn't really like it. And it was probably for different reasons, but I don't think she found it appropriate for kids, but I remember everybody was just obsessed with it when it came out. Like, I grew up, formative years from, gosh, how old was I? Like 3 or 4 years old till 8 years old. We lived in Frisco, Texas, and I went to Kurt Sanger Elementary School. And our school, for every year I don't remember if it was for Valentine's Day or it must have been the homecoming parade. Frisco goes all out for the homecoming parade, and they have for years. This was back in the 90s. They would put together these massive floats, like stuff you would see in like the Rose Parade or something, except it was usually out of like tissue paper and stuff. And our school's theme that year was Pocahontas. So they actually had her, they actually made her on this float rowing her canoe. And it just sticks out. And like the choir walked behind and sang the songs from the movie and like the elementary school kids. And it was cute. So definitely one of my memories of Pocahontas.
And from what I've heard, she's still a face character now, and I don't know which park she appears in. I think she comes out in Magic Kingdom. Any of you, if you've been to the park recently this last year, because I know they kind of change around where certain face characters go each year. If you've seen Pocahontas, leave us a comment. Let us know if you've seen her and where. And just your experience with those characters. I do know the villain is still featured in like the villain events that they do, especially during Halloween. You'll see Governor Ratliff.
He's in the Fantasia show as well, or a Fantasmic show. Yeah. Oh yeah, Pocahontas is in Fantasmic too. She comes out at the end, like with all the characters on the boat, and on the steamboat.
She's in she is in the one. For those of you who are familiar with Fantasmic, it's a show that's in Disneyland and in Walt Disney World in the Studios Park. The one in Disneyland and the one in Disney World now are two completely different shows. They follow the same kind of beats. But the one in Disneyland just got upgraded again. It was always kind of different because of just the location where they have it. They have it around the lagoon where they have the big boat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they row out during it. The Pocahontas and her friends they could row their canoes across at one point. I do remember that.
That's in Florida, and basically the part where it's Pocahontas in Florida. In California, it was Peter Pan.
Oh, that's cool.
So in Florida, it's Pocahontas because the Fantasmic for Florida was made way after the one in Disneyland was made, and so it's been Pocahontas. And there's talks now that in the Pocahontas scene, it's very brief. It's just a bunch of stunts, bunch of guys doing stunts. Really, you see Pocahontas, but she's like on top of the big stage for like a second, and then the lights off of her as she goes backstage, and then you see John Smith swing across.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do remember that. So, but yeah, I think those are the only places that she appears, and she has like zero merchandise. I don't think I saw a single Pocahontas merchandise piece
I haven't
while
seen
I was
merchandise
there.
for her since the mid-90s. I have a Miko. I have a Miko puppet.
I had the doll that would row, like her boat. I had that one. It didn't work very well. Then there may be product for her at Disney Springs. We didn't actually get a chance to pop down there just because it was cold. We were tired at the end of the night. We went there during a cold snap. It was weird.
So I heard from someone that you see some Pocahontas merchandise during Thanksgiving, and I'm like, that's
weird. That's bad. That's not good.
Problematic.
That is not good at all. Yes. That's like, that just makes me want to just kind of just drop my head on the desk. Like, really? Just come on.
Yeah. I think it's Lindsay Ellis. She used to go by Nostalgia Chick. She does a lot of critical reviews of media. I think she's the one who made the joke that if you cut all the clips from Pocahontas when it's just Percy chasing Miko, it tells the exact same story as the rest of the movie.
That's funny.
Pocahontas, I understand why she's not really in the parks. And
right.
We'll get to more on that later, because there's plenty more princesses on the list. And I think, because we're going in order of release. So,
except for Jasmine, because we wanted to...
Jasmine?
Oh, no, she did come first. That's right. Never mind.
She was first. There were characters of color before Jasmine, but they weren't really main characters.
They weren't princesses.
Yeah, we're not going to get into the Fantasia. Yeah, no.
We're specifically covering Disney princesses.
And I will give a shout out to Esmeralda. She was not a princess, but she was.
Although she is sometimes featured in the lineup.
She was in the 90s. She had merch release, but we kind of feel why Hunchback also got kind of buried.
Yeah, kind of for the same reason, and it dealt with more adult themes, I think. So it's a fantastic, beautiful movie.
It's a beautiful movie, and I think it's less so the issue was Esmeralda herself than how they portrayed Frollo. Apparently, when that movie came out, it really made a certain organization in Italy very angry.
Do they happen to have their own city that is counted as its own country?
Yes.
Just asking for a friend.
Yes. They didn't really like how this judge was portrayed.
Yeah, well, there's bad apples in every organization. There's an entire scandal surrounding them, so...
Yeah, they had some issue, and apparently during production they had issues. That's why he was made a judge, if you didn't know that.
Huh. No, I did not know that. I honestly have not looked into that movie much.
Because the novel, he's a priest. He's
okay
in the novel.
Huh. That's something I ought to do. I have a degree in English. I should be reading these books. I have not read The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So
shout out, you do right now in the Happily Ever After fireworks at the Magic Kingdom. There is a scene from Hunchback. I believe it's from the song Out There. It's projected on the castle. You see Quasimodo leaping along the castle, ringing the bell. So there's still a little bit of Hunchback in the parks. And in the 90s, there was Hunchback condensed as a stage musical number in the Studios park. So Esmeralda did get a brief amount of time of love, but due to reasons, not just her, but just how her movie was handled by the public and by certain groups, it got kind of squished. And she was never really a princess. She didn't marry royalty. She wasn't born royal. You could argue, which we'll argue with our next princess, she did do quite an act of heroism. Quite a big act of heroism for her people. But there also was the argument that she was too sexy.
Yep. People felt that she was not a quote good role model for little children.
Because people argued Ariel was a bit too sexy, but Glenn Keane, the animator who designed her, modeled her after his wife. So when people heard that, they were like, "Oh, okay," but there wasn't that kind of excuse for Esmeralda. The same way people were kind of uncomfortable with Pocahontas' design. Because people who worked on that movie and worked on her specifically outright said they had to make her sexy. When if you look in history, Pocahontas was not sexy. She was a kid.
Right. And of course, the next princess on the list is probably the least sexy. Not in like a looks thing, but in the fact that she plays, for half the movie, just pretending to be a dude.
Yes, and part of the movie is the guy, the sort of, I will say the love interest, having kind of gay panic.
Which is its own, that's its own thing on it. That's a completely topic of its own,
I have to bring that up. Because I'm sorry, when Shang finds out Mulan's female, that look of relief on his face.
Yeah, that's, like I said, that's definitely a subject all on its own, but Mulan is amazing. She's my personal favorite Disney princess. She sparked my love for learning about Chinese history and culture, and I've got like I said last episode, I've got 1 million books on just history books on my bookshelf about Chinese history, figures in Chinese history. I've especially enjoyed learning about figures like Empress Wu and oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm about to butcher her name, but CZ, Empress CZ, they are both fascinating figures, and I have read a lot of books on them.
Mulan is very interesting. The fact that she's in the princess lineup in the first place, because originally it was you have to be born royal or marry royal. Mulan
neither of which she
neither.
did.
So they added a new category for becoming a princess because it applied to her. Perform a significant act of heroism.
And boy, did she perform a significant act of heroism. She did it twice.
It was pretty amazing. And also, there also is one factor that Disney themselves don't mention but do play in, and that is the big BO word, box office.
Mm-hmm. Mulan was a smash hit.
It did so well, she had to be pulled into the lineup, and that's why they made that special category just for her.
And that is why it's so surprising that she is not in the parks. She was my favorite. My husband and I, when we went for a honeymoon in March, we made a list. These are our non-negotiable characters that we have to have pictures with. His was Goofy, mine was Mulan. And I got to meet her in the China Pavilion of Epcot. We selfied together, but she called it checking her reflection, which I had a good laugh at. I thought that was pretty cute. And it was just wonderful. I was like, I felt like a kid again. I was like, I get to meet Mulan. Like, she's my favorite. And I remember looking for merchandise for her. There were three things, and they were all at Disney Springs.
Aw, I remember when the movie came out. I think that was like 98, I think.
1998, yep.
I remember going Halloween shopping. I was Mulan for Halloween. And for girls,
cool.
For girls, they had two costumes. They had her outfit she wears in the beginning as, a girl. But girls could also be Warrior Mulan in 1998.
That's pretty awesome. I think
the Warrior Mulan costume was sold in the girls section along with the dressy Mulan costume.
Yeah, Mulan really kicked down some doors in that respect. Kicked them down because she would have done it.
And it was great. And people, okay, I'm going to clear the way. I know, culture appropriation. I dressed up as Mulan, but I asked for forgiveness. I was like 8 or 9 years old. And that movie had come out that summer, and that was my favorite movie at the time. I loved her. Yeah,
I love Mulan. To this day, she's my favorite. Although Moana is giving her a real run for her money because I adore Moana as well. I think she's fantastic.
We have to get to her later. But yeah, Mulan.
I love her.
For how much she's made, she's barely featured in the parades. She's barely featured in any of the shows.
She's in Fantasmic. I know that for sure. I saw her in Fantasmic.
She comes out at the end. She's on the boat.
Right. There's two face characters you can meet. You can meet her in her sort of her bride costume, and I think you can also meet Warrior Mulan, although I met her in her bride costume, so I didn't see Warrior Mulan.
And her movie was popular enough that she got a direct-to-video sequel.
And that's a topic for another day.
And there's a live-action remake coming too,
which I am super stoked about.
And her movie was so significant, a very popular Adult Swim show mentioned a sauce that came out when that movie came out, and that people went nuts for just not too long ago.
I'm still embarrassed about that. Let's not talk about that. I'm still hanging my head in shame for that. For that.
Mulan is so significant. She got sauce.
Yeah, she got the sauce.
Mulan got the sauce, and she's not in the parks.
So where is her stuff? That movie made a ton of money. It was huge, and she has zero representation. None.
And she's still a part of the lineup. Like, you still get her stuff. I'm gonna say again, as a mom, when I look at the costumes and stuff they sell for kids, I hardly see anything of Mulan.
Yeah.
Which kind of hurts my heart a bit because, I know there's a bunch of little girls from all over different cultures who love Mulan, especially girls who are born of, immigrants from China and, East Asia, who love Disney movies and want to be
she's
her.
Such a wonderful role model.
And so we have a friend of ours who'd be way more qualified to talk about all things Mulan. Maybe one day we'll bring her on as a guest.
Yeah. Oh man, we totally should. That'd be awesome.
Just bring her on as a guest because she can really go on about how Mulan has kind of affected the perception of the Chinese experience in America for children, especially, and little girls.
Yeah. And I mean, personally, I wish that Mulan was better represented because I think she is a fantastic role model for little girls because she's allowed to be tough and feminine at the same time.
And the only downside was Eddie Murphy Dragon.
Oh, come on, it's Mushu.
They did through all this work to get, all these, Asian actors to play these roles, but then you get Eddie Murphy, and then you also have Harvey Fierstein. Harvey Fierstein, not Harvey Weinstein. There's a difference. Harvey Fierstein is flaming.
Who did he play?
Yao, King of the Rock.
Really? Oh, I had no idea.
There's nothing you girls can do about it.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
So in case you didn't know, Yao is also another character not played by an Asian actor. Was played by Harvey Fierstein, who is a LGBT performer and does drag.
That is so fitting. I bet he had a blast doing that. I bet he had an absolute, especially with that end scene. I bet he was pretty stoked. It's like, yes. Because I love that end scene. I think it's fantastic. So I think it's hysterical and unexpected because from reading a lot about Chinese history, that was the only way to get that, for a man to get that deep into the palace, unless you were a eunuch. So it's actually kind of a nice bit of history that's kind of woven in there. That the reason they had to do that is because they would never have been allowed that close to that far into the inner sanctum without being dressed as women.
Who are they? Concubines.
Yeah.
Ugly concubines.
Yeah, they would never have been let that far in without either being a concubine or a eunuch or a direct reporter to the emperor himself.
Or in the case of the sequel, one of his daughters.
Right. And, and to be honest, I mean, in a way, it actually kind of breaks that, as in the women had their own section of the imperial city that they kind of stayed in. But, I mean, it didn't fit the story. So, but yeah, I love Mulan. It's fantastic. But she only has a couple of very small appearances in the park. And
she had a great parade, though. That parade in the Studios Park, good parade. A+ parade.
Yeah. I wish I could have seen that. I actually didn't go I think I mentioned this last time. I didn't go to Disney the first time until I was 16. I wish I could have gone as a kid, though. So, those little videos that they sent out in the mail? I had one of those. It was like, it's like a 30-minute advertisement for the parks. And I used to run that on our thing, and then I'd pause it, and I'd go find commercials on TV and pretend like I was airing it myself.
You need to, come over sometime, because my family, we have video recorded pretty much every trip we went on from 96, 97 to the last one we went to.
Oh, wow. That would be so cool.
The only trip I personally went on that wasn't recorded was the one I went in 94 when I first went with my dad. And that's because my dad just took still photos, and I was 4, and all I wanted to do was go on Dumbo. But that was when Lion King was just coming out and was the banging thing. I remember I got an original Simba plush from Disney World. It's great.
My cousin had a Simba plush for years growing up that she slept with every night. And I think she still has it. I think it's like a keepsake. And it's like missing an eye. But she loved The Lion King. Absolutely adored it. And I think she can still quote the entire movie.
Yeah, we'll bring up The Lion King in another show, because that is a pretty big topic.
Yeah, stay tuned. It's upcoming.
Okay, so after Mulan, there's quite a bit before we got a princess of color, though, Kuzco. Is Kuzco a princess?
Kuzco is the best princess. Kuzco is best princess.
Emperor's New Groove did come out, I believe, in 2000 or 2001, and obviously Kuzco is a person of color, and it took place in, ancient... Where did you say that area would be?
It would have been South America.
South America?
The Inca Empire.
Inca, okay. I was trying to figure out if he was Inca, Aztec, or Mayan.
Yeah, it was definitely the Inca Empire.
So, and I'm like, there were no real female characters in there, but he was pretty princessy.
Yeah, there was Yzma.
He's not. And I'm actually, so we're throwing in Cusco in here because you don't even see him as a face character. At least I haven't seen him all times I've been since 2000s. At even the Mexico Pavilion. You don't see
zero
him.
representation for this entire movie, which I find that is a crime because that movie is wonderful.
And it did well. People loved it.
It was hysterical. I love that. I still quote that movie.
that movie got a direct-to-video sequel. It got a TV show on
which was
Disney
good.
Channel.
It was actually good, so
I'm like, okay, so where is it? Disney, come on.
yeah. I think that one is missing quite a bit. It's a great movie, although I will say it was a little bit of a disappointment as far as representation goes, since the two main characters are played by white men.
Oh, John Goodman, you can't not mistake his voice anywhere.
You know, he does a Buffalo Wild Wings commercial. Like, I hear it all the time on one of the apps I listen to, and I'm like, that's John Goodman.
You know, just really quick, talking about John Goodman. When I saw Hercules, does Hercules count as non-white, or I
don't know. Because, I mean, he's definitely drawn. Like, he appears white.
And Megara, she was never a princess.
Which is sad, because she definitely deserved to be a princess. But it's Greece. She married a demigod.
It's Greece, so we're not going to bring up Hercules into this, because it's kind of also that movie didn't do well. I just want to say, I thought Zeus
also.
I thought Zeus was voiced by John Goodman, and he just had like mashed potatoes in his mouth. It wasn't until I watched it like a year ago, and I saw the credits that it was Rip Torn. And I was like, "That's not John Goodman." Okay. Anyway,
that's my husband's favorite Disney movie is Hercules. He loves it.
So, back on the order. So, Cusco. Where's Cusco in the parks? Disney. Where's Cusco? Where is he?
Yeah, there's none. like I said, I was there in March. I saw no Emperor's New Groove merch whatsoever. Now, I didn't search for it on the merch locator, to be honest, so there may have been some in, like, Disney Springs, something that I missed.
He has some pins. I think there are a couple pins.
Yeah. And where are they? Like, the Mexico region? Like, they're probably in some really weird place. They're like, why did you put this here? They're not even from Mexico.
And I'm just like, well, maybe there's talk about a Brazil pavilion coming in.
That would be nice. That would be so cool.
So, after Cusco, there was a movie called Atlantis that did have a princess who was non-white, but that movie did not do well. So she never got pulled into the lineup.
It was a critical flop as well as a financial flop. Nobody liked it,
box office disaster.
Which is terrible because I love that movie. I think it's awesome. When I was in 8th grade, I had Milo's journal, like the journal that he supposedly wrote, and it was my most prized possession. I loved that.
And you could tell with all the hype before the movie came out, all the stuff. I think like Disney talked to Discovery about going in and talking about Play-Doh and talking about all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I remember all this hype. You knew Disney wanted something big to happen with this movie. And for people familiar with the park in Anaheim with Disneyland, they had the submarine voyage that was, at that time, needed to be redone. And everyone knew that it was going to get the Atlantis treatment. Atlantis would come out, it would be a big thing, that'd be the Atlantis ride, the end. And then that didn't happen.
No, it wasn't worth them spending the money on, which, again, I think is a shame because Kida was fascinating. I loved Kida. I thought she was super cool. She had magic powers, and I was just like, what's better? Like, I think I was in the 8th grade. I was in 8th grade when that movie came out, so I was, like, deep into anime and, like, Sailor Moon at the time, so I was like, oh my gosh, you fit in with everything I like right now.
And Milo, that was probably one of the best voice performances I ever heard from Michael J. Fox. And at that point, like, he was well into having Parkinson's and stuff, too.
Yeah, he did a really good job. I really, really enjoyed his performance. That Milo, to this day, is one of my favorite male Disney characters.
He makes nerds feel good.
Yes, he does. Especially those of us who really like language. In fact, I kind of credit him with my love of language.
So, unfortunately, Kida, we know why she never got featured. She's not even in the lineup.
No, she's not in the lineup. They are not featured in the parks. It's kind of a chapter that Disney would rather forget, and I think that's really doing a disservice to that movie.
But we wander a little bit. We had that period where some Inuit people got turned into bears, but there were no chicks in that movie.
Yeah, there were chicks in the sequel though.
And then we had them starting to try 3D animation a little bit with Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons and just a lot of Home on the Range.
Home on the Range. Oh gosh.
Cringe.
Don't get me started on how horrible that movie is.
So basically, we had quite a few years of Disney cringe, and then Princess and the Frog happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey Disney, where's Tiana?
Yeah. Tiana is super popular. Like I don't know how well her movie did, but just as a character, from what I can see, Tiana is very well loved.
Her movie did pretty well. It was not a smash hit. It was not like Tangled. Definitely not like Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
It did do all right, though. But because of how it did, it made Disney say, we don't want to do 2D movies anymore.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, is a shame.
People argue it's because of how it was marketed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Frozen and Tangled are princess movies, but they weren't marketed as princess movies.
Right.
If Prince and the Frog got the same kind of marketing those movies got, I think it would have done just as well.
I think they should have changed the name, honestly. Like how they changed the name of Rapunzel to Tangled. I think they should have changed the name.
What do they call it? Frogged?
I don't know, like a swamp adventure or something. I don't know. just don't call it The Princess and the Frog, is what I said. Like, come up with a different name. Like, Tangled is a brilliant name for a Rapunzel movie. I think there was probably another good option that could have been used. Because, like you said, it just blatantly said, "This is a princess movie. It's going to be the typical princess formula."
Call it I don't even know what, a frog in New Orleans.
That would be good. That'd be a cute title.
That sounds like a cute story. I would watch it.
Right. Or they could have gone with the actual title of the story, The Frog Prince.
There you go.
So that would have been interesting because it would have shifted the princess theme to the guy, which is very unusual.
That is something I always it did kind of bother some people because, we finally have a black princess. We still don't have a black prince. Yeah,
he was basically from Wakanda or something, like some made up country.
And he's ambiguously not white, but not quite brown either.
Yeah, and his name is actually Indian, from India, Naveen.
And I'm like, oh, we can't have a kind of a black prince, can we?
I think it would have been pretty cool. Would have made for a pretty awesome story. I mean, it's still a great movie. I've only seen it once, but I enjoyed going to see it. I thought the animation was fantastic. I thought it was beautiful. It was a really fun movie to watch. Louis, was the lightning bug's name? Louis?
Ray was the lightning
Ray.
bug.
No, Louis the lightning bug was
Louis was
TXU's mascot.
Yeah, Louis was the Louis. That was the gator.
Gator, okay. Sorry. Texas Electric had Louis the Lightning Bug when I was little. I was like, wait, hold on. Yeah, Ray was my favorite character. I, by far and away, loved him. I cried when he died. I was so sad.
There were some issues with the movie, like how they went out of the way to make sure that racism isn't a thing here. Totally not. Not in 1920s New Orleans.
Right,
See,
yeah.
The rich white people love these poor not white people. See,
yeah,
they're best friends.
Wasn't a thing. Wasn't a thing. Well, I mean, it was, but it was like on a very small scale.
It's like they're best friends, even though clearly Tiana is working her butt off and is super poor, and her best friend lives in a mansion. But they're best friends.
Yeah, which in real life they probably would have never met, but it's Disney.
Or they would have met because her mom sewed those dresses, but the guy on there like, yeah, they hung out while her mom was there, but as adults, no.
Yeah, but even despite the issues with the movie, Tiana is a real light because she is the first Black princess. She is the first. And I think that makes her extremely important. And I think she only has a face. I think she has a face character and maybe some merch. Like I said, again, I didn't look for her merch.
She
but
has a lot of merch in terms of dress up.
Okay, yeah. And I have seen her stuff at the Disney store. So
yeah, she has dolls and she has dress up stuff and stuff like that for children.
mm-hmm.
The thing that bothers me is she's popular enough that she should have her own restaurant. That was part of her movie. She does have her restaurant, but you have to go on one of the Disney cruises. It's only on one ship.
That's why I would go to Tiana's place. Like, this sounds, and you know, it would be so fun. It would be like 1920s themed, and it would be like, you know, you'd have like, I don't know, a swamp theme, I guess. But well, I mean,
the food would be, you know, Louisiana Creole style food.
Right. And it would be so fun because you could have Tiana appear, because, you know, that montage where she's singing about the place that she wants and she has that really pretty dress and she's got like the fur stole and the hat. You could have her come out in that outfit. It'd be so cute.
I'm just here and I'm like, they have it on a boat, which is good, but they should have it in the park. They did do all that stuff to have Be Our Guest, the Beauty and the Beast themed restaurant in the park. And they have a tavern for freaking Gaston.
Right, and here's the real kicker. They have a New Orleans-themed hotel, resort. Where is Tiana?
They even have, I believe it's in Disneyland, there's a section called New Orleans Square.
Yeah, I think that's Liberty Square in Orlando, so that must be the only place it is.
Yeah, but it's like there's no Tiana restaurant anywhere. And I'm like, she came from the movie with her own attraction she doesn't even need a ride. She just needs a restaurant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that she should be much more prominent than she is. I think that's a real shame that she's not. She really should be.
Her as a face character, her lines are mobbed at the parks.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
She's as popular as Rapunzel.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she's wildly popular. The movie itself may not have done well, but Tiana as a princess is wildly popular. People love Tiana. They love her, and I know, and I see why. Like, I mean, she is a big step forward for representation, and
also not just in just her being Black, but just her kind of story, her being like she didn't wish upon a star and get her dream prince, and that's what she wanted. She wanted her career.
Yeah, she wanted to have a career, and I think that she worked hard. She worked very hard, and I think that's like, I feel like if you took certain aspects of certain Disney princesses and put them all together, they would be a great person. Like, they each have one aspect that is really played up, that is like, Tiana is hardworking, Mulan is brave, Jasmine isn't happy to settle for the status quo or the way things have always been. She doesn't want tradition.
Pocahontas talks to trees.
I didn't mention Pocahontas for a reason.
That was a problematic movie.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in a way you could call her like an ambassador of sorts, which I guess is, I mean, loose. It's a loose interpretation of what she did, but ambassador could be, a something somebody could take away from the movie. Akita was probably more of an ambassador than she was, but
so, like, there's a lot of problems with how Disney handled Princess and the Frog. Like, there's a lot of problems. I agree that, like, she probably shouldn't have spent most of the movie as a frog.
Yep. I will agree with that. It made for a pretty boring story. I came here for a princess, not a frog.
And it just had just so much going on that just took away from it. But it had Oprah.
Yeah.
It had Oprah.
It did have Oprah.
So after Princess and the Frog, we then started seeing some smash hit princess movies. We had Brave,
mm-hmm.
and which was technically Pixar, but she got pulled into the Disney lineup.
Mm-hmm.
We got
Tangled.
nope,
Tangled came in between the two.
got Rapunzel, and we got Frozen. Oh God, Frozen.
I'll start singing if you want me to.
The whitest of the whites.
I mean, the entire movie is about snow and ice. What did you expect?
Can't get any whiter. But in 2016, we finally got another.
We got Elena of Avalor.
And we got Moana. That was 2016.
We got 2 in 1 year.
We got, well, theatrically, we got Moana. Make way, make way. Oh God, now I'm not gonna sing the movie, I swear.
Yeah, we can't. We'll get copyright dinged.
But Moana definitely deserves everything in the park that she does not currently have.
Moana's a smash hit. It is a runaway hit. And like I said, she's given me a run for she's given Mulan a run for her money on which one is my favorite, because Spunky Ocean Princess, I love her. And I love that she's just so easily irritated, because I'm easily irritated. It makes me think I'm princess material.
And plus, she had the best animal sidekick.
Oh, hey. Oh. And the fact that they had Alan Tudyk come in and record lines of just him squawking. Oh, I love that. I think that's hysterical.
I love how all the promo material made you think that the pig was going to be like her sidekick, but nope.
Right?
It's the chicken.
Pooh was in it for like 5 minutes.
It's the chicken. And the behind the scenes stuff is so great that they originally wanted to scrap the chicken, and I guess whoever was really dedicated to that character just made that character so funny that they're like, okay, the chicken lives.
The chicken lives another day. It didn't become Maui's snack.
The chicken can stay.
Food snack.
The chicken can stay.
Oh man, I love it. Maui, like, okay, so I love Moana and she's like one of my favorite princesses, but Maui is my favorite character from that movie. The Rock, he was born to play Maui.
Maui was The Rock's past life.
Yes, absolutely. He is. Oh man, it's just so wonderful. And people even give him crap for his singing voice. I'm like, I love Thank You. My husband and I sing that all the time.
I love that You're Welcome, such a great song, because he's having a good time. It doesn't matter if he can actually sing or not. He's having fun.
Right. Plus, it's got the plus of being written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Shout out to Hamilton fans. But I love that song. I think it's wonderful. The entire movie's great, and there's no romance. There's no romantic story at all. It's so fun. I love this movie.
Their relationship is like sibling relationship.
Mm-hmm. Or like mentors, like somebody mentoring somebody.
Like, there was no mentioning of Moana getting married even. It's just, you're going to become the chief one day. That's it. No marriage, nothing else. It's just you, chief. Yeah,
you are going to be the chief. And, actually I take that back. I think Grandma Tala might be a little bit more of a favorite, but she isn't in the movie as much.
Grandma Manta Ray.
Yeah. I'm the village crazy person. It's what I have to do. Or whatever she says. I love her. Because I was like, I would be the person who's just over there just like randomly dancing next to the ocean. That would be me.
You just go out in the water. You just summon all the manta rays.
I've been to aquariums. One of my favorite things is to see the stingrays and the manta rays. I think they're just so graceful. There was a meme that went around, and it was like all these alternate names for animals, and the alternate name for stingrays was like majestic flap flap. And I was like, you know what? That's right. They are majestic.
And they do go flap flap.
They do go flap flap. I imitate them when I'm in the pool with my mermaid tail. And then I started thinking, how can I make myself like a full body like stingray suit instead of a mermaid tail? Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
So, Moana's place in the park, well, she has been a meet and greet character since
yes,
the movie came out.
Let me tell you how long that line is, because we waited in it. We were given they give you those little like buzzers that they give you at restaurants, and we waited an hour and a half. Like we fast passed the Toy Story ride, Midway Mania next door, and we were able to go through that entire ride, come back, and we still had to sit and wait forever. And we actually didn't get to go in because we had to make our way to Fantasmic, but we were able to give our place in line to somebody, a girl who really, really wanted it.
I'm still kicking myself because I saw Moana's line when I went over Christmas last year, but I hadn't seen the movie yet.
Aww. And and I was like, I wanted to meet her so bad. I was like, let's go meet Moana. Like, this will be so cool. And I'm so disappointed that we didn't get to. But maybe next time, because we're planning on going again soon.
So I'm like, I could have gone, but I didn't see the movie yet, so I didn't really feel the hype until I saw the movie, and then that movie became my life.
Yeah, and as far as merchandise, she is well represented. There's and it's probably just because it's probably partially because her movie just came out, but there's a ton of Moana merchandise. A ton.
I even see it just in, like, my grocery store in the toy section. I see 2 Moana dolls. I see one that's, like, a regular doll of her, and then there's a doll of her in her full dress, like, chief outfit at my grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, she is wildly popular, and I think that warrants some kind of ride.
Yeah, there were talks, because in Magic Kingdom, there is some unused space behind Adventureland, fitting in an attraction for her there. She could also be incorporated more into the Polynesian Resort, which currently has Lilo and Stitch, but incorporate her there as well, and really tie in that Polynesian hotel and with the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, and because that would really justify the existence of the Polynesian Hotel.
And where it is.
Yeah. So I think they should make a ride for her. I think she is popular enough to have a ride.
Ever since the movie came out, and people were getting the numbers for it, rumors have circulated about them using that spot, clearing it out, and making a coaster kind of attraction to her. And basically, you know how there are all those mountains in, Magic Kingdom? There's Splash Mountain, Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain. Well, there'd be a volcano mountain.
I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, and you could totally theme it with, like, Taka, and like trying to, like, defeat her or get away from her or something. That'd be really cool.
On your little, like, wayfinding boat thing.
Yeah, they could design it, like, put, like, the little swirl symbol on it. I don't know if that has a name other than... I don't know, because the stone was the heart of Te Fiti, so I don't know what the symbol is called, but...
I think it is the heart of Te Fiti, just the symbol.
It's
the heart. But yeah, just doing that, and then, like, you have, like, Maui just making cracks at you. It's like, get away.
Yeah, well, and I think something that would make that more interesting. So, the Rock and Roller Coaster has speakers behind you that play music. You could have, and I guess it would be interesting if they made this an indoor coaster, because I think that they could probably pull this off a little better with an indoor coaster. But have you dodging obstacles, and then you would hear Maui's voice being like, "Oh, look out!" as you hit a turn or something.
But we have to get through the Kakamora.
That's true.
So totally not based on, a certain Mad Max movie. No, not at all.
What's funny is the first time I saw them, I thought, those look like Shy Guys.
They look like Shy Guys, but then, okay, so they start playing those drums. That's so Mad Max.
Oh, yeah. When I first saw them, I was like, those are totally based on Shy Guys. Like, the design is very Shy Guy.
Shy Guys if they were from Mad Max. Well, because if you listen, because you're all about music, listen to the score piece for the Kakamora. If you listen to that, and then you listen to the sound that's the music from Mad Max Fury Road during that first chase bit, it sounds so close.
I'll have to listen to that. I actually haven't seen Mad Max Fury Road. I have not been to the movies much in the last couple of years because of work and planning a wedding and all that stuff. So
I'll send you videos of the clips so you can your inner music nerd can freak out.
Oh yes, I love being a music nerd. I'm learning to play the guitar. It's going to be awesome. Music nerd level up.
So Moana has potential. Like, it's currently sad that her movie's been out almost a year now, and she's still just a face character.
Well, she's a face character, but she does have a presence as merchandise. So I'd say that's a little more than just being a face character. But yeah, there's no other attraction associated with her.
Meanwhile, it didn't take long for Frozen to get more than one sing-along show, and now a ride.
Yeah, Frozen is everywhere. And it's interesting because, Frozen was a smash hit, but Moana has also been very big.
Yeah, and Rapunzel got a section of Fantasyland. Like, she didn't get a ride, but she got her tower, which is a bathroom, but she got a tower. She got her bathroom tower.
I feel like I didn't see that while I was there.
Yeah, I was... The bathroom tower.
Oh, man. But yeah, and then I guess that just brings us to Elena, the final one, who was not in a movie.
Yeah, she was not in a theatrical movie. Her movie was just on TV, on Disney Channel and Disney Junior. But if you go to the parks and you go to the Disney stores, her merchandise is sold alongside the other merchandise. And if you do the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique in the parks, which is where kids can go and get made up and dress up like a princess or even a prince for boys. They do some of the prince characters for boys. Elena is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very tokenized. Like, it's kind of insulting, the fact that she did not get a theatrical release movie, but they're still kind of incorporating her anyway.
Well, and what's really sad about her is I see her everywhere. I see little girls dressed up as her all the time. I see older girls cosplaying her. I was at a cosplay event here in town back in August, and there was a group of girls dressed as Disney princesses, and one of them was Elena, and I was like, I see her everywhere. She is wildly popular, but she's so obscure because she doesn't have a movie, but people do love her.
And the obscure thing is basically her movie itself came because she's tied into Sophia the First, which is a Disney Junior show. Sophia the First, has her amulet, and through her amulet rescued Princess Elena and restored Avalor, which then made her movie happen. And then now there's that series, Elena of Avalor.
I think she's really cool. I love seeing the little girls dressed up as her because I think that she's a very important icon, especially in this area. I think that I just see lots of little girls who really love her, and I think it's a shame that she isn't as widely known because I think she would be very popular.
I did see her in the parks. She has a face character in the parks, and she does appear as part of the ensemble in some of the productions in Magic Kingdom. And I think she's also is on the final boat on Fantasmic.
Okay, I'm not sure if I saw her or not, but I mean, I just may not have noticed. She may have been on the other side or something.
Here's where else Moana appears. She appears during Happily Ever After, the fireworks show. Part of it is Moana. She is projected on the castle, and there are fireworks around the castle in spiral shape.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was, we saw Wishes right before Wishes was done away with, so I haven't seen that one yet.
So, and Princess and the Frog is briefly on part of there too.
Okay. Yeah, we missed most of Wishes because we were trying to make our way to, over to Space Mountain, which broke down while we were on it. That was an interesting 45 minutes where we just sat there.
Here's something where Princess and the Frog was brought in pretty early. Her villain, Dr. Facilier. He
was really controversial.
He's used in a lot of the Halloween stuff from day one. He's still used in the Halloween stuff.
Yeah, he was extremely controversial too. I remember there being a lot of, even when it came out, people thought that he was too scary, that he was too, I guess, like demonic or something, and there was a big hullabaloo about that when it came out. And then the fact
that he was a black character and he was doing voodoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just the racial connotations and him being a villain, and it's like, But, he is a very popular villain. And people can argue he's the last classical Disney villain with the villain song and the villain show number. He's the last classical one, because I don't really count Mother Garbanzo Bean. She didn't have that good villain song.
No, she was basically just a abusive mother stereotype number one. Like,
Mother Google, just no.
Mother Google, I'm gonna call her that from now on. She's always watching.
I just, they tried to make her to be the next Disney villain. It did not work. She did not have a good villain song. So
no, well, she didn't have a good villain song, and she didn't really have a good motivation. Like, she's just like, I just want to be young. Like, that's not a good motivation. That's not a good, from a storytelling standpoint, that's not a good motivation.
Dr. Facilier had the best motivation because racial inequality. He wanted money.
Yeah, and that's always a big driver.
He's got
he
friends.
just wanted to have money. He just wanted to live a good life, and that's, you know, a lot of good people can be corrupted in that pursuit.
Like, he even got, and I remember in Prince and the Frog, he got, you know, Tiana to kind of see where he was coming from.
Right, yeah, because it's a, in our society, you need money, and it is a necessity to live. You don't have to be beautiful to live, but you need money. So you can see where, like, he's like, I am poor. I am not living the potential life, the life that I want to live. I am struggling. I am starving. Look at me. I'm basically skin and bones. Like, I mean,
and Tiana,
he had a real reason. He had a real reason to do what he did. And Mother Gothel was just like, I'm not pretty. I'm old.
And that's why it's why Prince and the Frog, like, I'm gonna say, he's the last classical Disney villain, too. Like, Prince and the Frog was a great movie to have the last classic Disney villain where you could kind of understand, if you understand the black experience in America in that time, and, like, why Tiana was a hard worker struggling, and why she started feeling compassion for the Shadow Man, even though he was trying to kill her.
Yeah. Pause. I have to cough real quick. I've been holding that in for like 5 minutes. Okay, continue.
So yeah, and so after that we have Moana, and that's pretty much it. There isn't a lot of, you do see a bit of representation in Happily Ever After, the fireworks show in Magic Kingdom. I do know there is a new parade, or kind of a new parade. I believe it's a year or two old at this point, so I don't think Moana's in it. Mm-mm. But it's in Disneyland. They may have added Moana and some other characters to World of Color and California Adventure, but again, that's California. No updates have been made to Illuminations and Epcot.
0.
And
I saw it. There is nothing.
And Fantasmic, they added some people to the boat at the end, and they used to add some stuff to the projections, but I don't think those projections have been updated in years.
No, they haven't. They look like they have been updated in years.
So I am hoping that the updated projections from California are also going to be duplicated for Florida. And
I hope so.
Here's something,
because that'd be a good way to test it in California.
I did hear a rumor that the Pocahontas section of Fantasmic might be getting replaced by Moana.
Perfect. Because that section is super weird.
That basically, instead of it being Pocahontas, it's going to be Wayfinders coming out, and then Moana holding the glowing heart of Te Fiti and putting it in the spiral.
That would be really cool. That would look really cool in the style of the show, too.
Because there's still not a lot of space to work with, so you still have to do that kind of parkour thing.
Right. And you know, one of the things they could do is they get those massive puppets, basically. You could get like a big old Taka puppet. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, get Taka puppet, or even just use the projections. Like, show Taka and then firework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be super cool. I want to see more of Moana in the parks. She is such a fantastic character. She's so well written. I love her personality. Like, I want more Moana. There needs to be more Moana.
And from what people have said is that she also captures what teenagers in that region are like in general. That they are mature and they are responsible and they care about their community and their, not just their family, but their whole community and their people.
Yeah, I think she really has earned a spot to be one of the top attractions at Disney.
She needs top billing.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we have reached the end of our show for today. I think we have...
Here's one question I'd like to leave you guys with. Why has there been no Jewish Disney princess yet?
That is a great question. Yeah, if you have an opinion on that, if you want to have a discussion, you can head to our Facebook page. We'll post the question on there. You can talk about it there. Please be civil. If there is any kind of hatred, bigotry, anything, we will remove it from the comments. Just letting you guys know now, we will be looking for that.
This is just an open question because, you know, we see a lot of them pushing towards including, you know, people from, you know, Latin America and Asian countries and, you know, another one. Okay, I'll add two. Why has there been no Jewish princess? Why has there been no Indian, South Asian princess? Yes, because that would be a massive cultural hit, I think. I think that
now is the right time to have an Indian princess.
Especially a movie done in the style of Bollywood.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. And there's so many little girls that would love that. Like they would love to see their culture represented as, with a princess.
So, to our audience, in the comments, either below the video posting or on the Facebook or on Twitter, give us your ideas for a Jewish princess story, and give us one for a Indian South Asian princess story. And
yeah, we'll look through for some of the best ones, and we'll feature them next time.
We'll tie them in a future video, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely future video. Maybe not next time. Next time is going to be long.
So, that's it for this one. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.